You are listening to Unfuck Your Mind with the real, raw, colorful, authentic, empowering, control profanity loving human Zach Lyotis, soul activator, master key holder, and intergalactic elder. Zach loves to find lessons in adversity to advocate humanity one listener at a time. She also enjoys having fun along the way. Check her out at zachlyotis.com to see what she's up to. But for now, let's pass it off to Zach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unfuck Your Mind. I'm your host, Zach Lyotis, and in today's podcast, I have Sarah Ripper. Sarah has worked within the arts community, entertainment, well-being, and business sector in Australia and internationally. She is passionate about working multi-dimensionary to support people to expand their potential, living in alignment with who they are and what they value. She's trained extensively in various healing modalities over the past 9 years and brings energy work together with spiritual and practical coaching to form a fusion session that flows with what is arising to be cleared, explored, or visioned up for each soul. Sarah is the co-founder and co-director of Myoni, a purpose-driven startup which launched in 2018. She's a key collaborator for FlexiFlow and learning innovative and well-being social enterprise working in creative events, program design, and visioning for future. All learning communities are empowered, connected, and vibrant, and joy-based. Welcome, Sarah, to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing in Australia? Australia summer right now, right?
Yeah, very much summer. Like I'm sitting so close to the air conditioner, I could be inside it. I'm like right under it. It's really hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear there's a huge hot spell going on in Australia right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
I think I prefer the heat rather than the cold snow that we're having here in Canada, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for being on the podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you here and just to speak about everything that you bring into the world and your healing work and stuff like that. So what are the modalities that you work with, your healing modalities that you learned?
Yeah, sure. So I've studied, perpetual student, always learning.
Yeah.
But the modality that I've trained the most extensively in is pranic healing, which is from the Philippines. Prior to that, I learnt Reiki as well. I've also studied Russian cellular regeneration. I've studied with a Siddha master in Malaysia over the past few years. I've studied access consciousness, so access bars.
I love access bars. I've done access bars before. It was so interesting because I got tapping on one side of my head, and I said to the lady, I don't know why I keep on tapping here. And she started laughing. She goes, that is your creative manifestation area. And I was like, you're kidding me.
Wow. Yeah. So the body just knew to activate.
I could actually feel it. I
could
actually feel like it needs to release something.
Wow.
So interesting. So do you do work online, like when it comes to stuff like that? Okay. So working with clients online. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what is Myoni? You're the co-founder and co-director of Myoni.
Oh, sure. So Myoni is a Australian owned and run social enterprise. We are 3 friends from uni, actually, who we've all used menstrual cups. Have you heard of menstrual cups?
Menstrual cups?
Menstrual cups?
Oh, no.
No? Okay. They're kind of popular in the US and Canada. Diva cups are popular brand. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have used them for a long time when they were a really hippie thing, right? And I was like, where are these? Like, why are they not what every woman uses? I get different things work for different people and all of that, but for me, they were just such a game changer. I was like, they save waste, they save money, they save time. It's one thing, you're sorted. Like, I just want to see these in the world. And anyway, very long story short, I was talking to some of my girlfriends about it, and we were like, well, let's just do it. Like, let's create our own. So we went about like trialing and erroring all the cups we could get our hands on. And then a friend of mine who's an industrial designer, he very kindly helped us to design a cup. And then last year we were successful in getting a really competitive grant to make it a reality. So we're a few months away from launching, but it's a Australian-made, ethical and recyclable menstrual cup. And it's also a vehicle, and this is what I've learned from, this project's taken a million times longer than what I thought it was going to take, but it's all good. But what I learned from it is that it's been a vehicle for having conversations about periods and about women's bodies and about, confronting the shame and taboo that's in the way of having those conversations.
Yeah. It's so true, because a lot of women, man, I could go on talking about our menstrual cycle, because a lot of women hate it. And I'm like, man, that seriously? Like, there's no need to hate it. You need to embrace it. Just like, yeah, because you don't have cramps, that's why I feel it. And It's just like, yeah, but I do get cramps. And I just kind of know at that moment that I have to breathe through it. But I learned to actually embrace in my menstrual cycle than in so-called hating it, because it's just the way the female body works. We have to embrace that. And to be able to carry a human being, like that's like a freaking miracle on its own. And if you didn't have all this organisms in your body to be able to run that way, you wouldn't be able to carry life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now that you're saying about the cup, I remember someone spoke about it once, and they said, I enjoy, like they use their cup, but they discharge all their blood in their plants, and they give blessings and sacredness to the plant. And I was like, oh, I've never heard of that before, because everyone I hang out with just thinks it's the worst thing in the world, But I'm like, that's really interesting. So you're nourishing the earth with the most sacred blood that anyone could basically ask for.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think like you said, like there is this conversation that we've got, and we've got it from the collective or wherever it's come from, that, periods are just something to be managed and put up with and not explored. But like from what I've learned, the impact of that is that we don't actually learn that, actually I have 4 cycles, and I can harness the power of having a female body, and honor what's going on in each of my phases and work with it instead of against it. So like, yeah, I'm on my bleed. I'm going to take things more slowly. I'm going to eat these different types of food. Hormonally, neurologically, different things are going on at different times. So we can also kind of look at that like we would a year with 4 seasons. Like in our body, we have those 4 seasons. Yeah. And they can be cultivated, and we can work with them. And I think that's actually a superpower. I think it's really cool once we know it and we cultivate it. And that comes with being willing to have conversations about it, I think.
Yeah, and it's true, because I only got more in tune with it when I hung out with a lot of, women from South America. I went to an event in Panama, in the jungles of Panama, and they were like, let's feed the tree your blood. And at first I was like, really? What's that about? Like, I was just so like, that's really hippishy, and that's not me, but I'm really learn about this. And then when I learned about it, I was like, man, that's powerful, and it got me thinking on a whole different level. I think I'm going through actually another transition right now called menopause, but, now when I have, I'm on my moon cycle, it's like, oh, you're here. What are we releasing now? What are we letting go of now? What are we expanding and exploring on now? So I look at my whole cycle so differently now. And I think, I wish everyone would look at their cycle like this. And I tell my 9-year-old niece, I'm like, it's the greatest thing. And she's just like, oh, I don't want it yet. And I'm like, you're 9. You're not going to get it till later on. But I go, just enjoy it. So I'm trying to teach her the opposite of what I've been taught as a child this whole time.
Love it. That's so special. She's so blessed to have you to give her that possibility, and just like an invitation to explore and cultivate that. That's really cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do the red tent situation thing, but other than that, I think I'm good.
Yeah. I'm good. The logistics as well of like a whole, it's a long time.
That's all cool. You got that. So do you help women like in third world countries with with the cup? Like, is that something that they could use? Or because I belong to a charity called the Andy Kindheart Foundation, and he basically helps a lot of children. And there's women that obviously teenagers going through their period. And I looked at the cup, and someone said that we can't do that because the cleansingness of the third world country and the cleaning and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So it would depend on their access to appropriate like water. Water's the thing. So if they have opportunity to access clean water, but also if they have an opportunity to boil water and sanitize their cup correctly. So that can be a barrier to use for sure. And I mean, I've got visions down the track to hopefully that we can develop something that could counteract that barrier. But yeah, that's problematic for some communities. But there have been various cases globally, like parts of Africa, Nepal, some communities in India where menstrual cups are being rolled out, and it's been really effective. And I think some of the impacts we're also not always aware of is that girls and then women miss out on school and university and work when they have their period if they don't have access to products that work for them. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of funny, we think that it's maybe an over there thing, but even in Australia and New Zealand, apparently 27% of women, girls miss out on school because of period related issues. So that's pretty full on, you know. And UK, there's they have other, you know, I can't give you the stats, but I can send you articles about it where there are lots of barriers, particularly in lower socioeconomic neighbourhoods where women can't access what they need or their families can't. Scotland was actually rolling out a project to provide free sanitary products to some schools and some communities. And there's an organisation in Australia called Share the Dignity, and they partner with 3,000 NGOs giving out pads and tampons, and they have vending machines, and that's a project that they're going to expand more this year, and also work with Indigenous communities because, yeah, it's just if you don't have what you need monthly, that's impacting all other areas of your life. And, of course, you're then not in an opportunity to embrace your period or love it when, you know, those basic needs are not being met. So, yeah, it's still a huge gap. I also read something that like 88% of women in non-urban India don't have appropriate sanitary products. Like, that's a lot of people.
That's huge.
Mm.
Wow. And this is the ignorance that, you know, I always say this, is the ignorance of us living in I hear the first world problems that we think that we have. And literally it's like, you have no idea what's going on beyond on the other side of other people going through stuff, and you think you have it hard here. And I don't have it hard by any means. I create my own life, you know, as well as I can, but there's other people that don't have access to anything that they truly need in order to maintain that healthy life, that healthy body, that healthy mind. And it triggers so many other parts of our psyche that it impedes on so many factors if it comes to love or financial abundance or, you know, gatherings or community and stuff like that. So we don't realize it to what extent it actually affects people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like the hierarchy of needs, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, people need to have their basic needs before they can explore into further expansion.
Absolutely. So let's talk about working with people to live in their highest potential. This is something that you do, help women. Is it men and women that you work with?
Men and women. I'm noticing more women coming to me, but yeah, everyone's welcome. Yeah,
everyone's welcome. Yeah. Well, this is the era. 2019 is the rise of the divine masculine. I'm hearing from spirit. So, you know, I always ask people, is it men and women that you work with, or is it just, you know, women? Because men also need some extra love and support on their journey as well. But let's talk about what you do in regards to helping people getting in alignment and live their most authentic life?
Yeah, sure. I love it. It's so much fun. So, I often find I've been finding the past sort of 3-4 months that a new kind of approach has been emerging from my one-on-one sessions. So it's sort of a fusion of coaching and healing. And we start the session with whatever's coming up for that person. And then we kind of have a bit of a conversation and coaching, and I tune into my intuitive guidance. And we usually pinpoint the dynamic or the fear or the whatever, the belief that's in the way, and unpack that just a little bit and then clear it. And be with that clearing. You know, it really depends what's going on for the person. Sometimes the clearing can take longer or it can take new forms. So, for example, I just had a session with someone this morning who wanted to, they're very successful in their other business pursuits, but in their creative work, they wanted to be paid more for the creative work that they do, and they wanted to, you know, dismantle that dynamic within themselves. And as we went through the session, she realized, well, I was getting stuff about the government, and I was like, government, okay. And you know, it's also me trusting my intuition of what I'm getting. I'm like, oh, that sounds weird. Why are we talking about that? But it was about authority, right? And about being seen and the power dynamics of the world. And that came down to that person needing to align with their visibility personally in their community and then in the world. And so that's something that needs to be cultivated. And so it's, you know, a roundabout way of getting to what she was intending for in our session, which was her creativity being received and being expressed. So yeah, it can kind of take funny directions as you know, and then creating space to vision that and to call that in. Yeah.
I love that you said that, the word government, and you're wondering what it is, and you have to trust that, because sometimes we get these hits and you're like, this doesn't make sense. Well, it's not supposed to make sense to you, but it makes sense to the other person. And so you sit with it longer, it will make sense. You know, I remember Spirit started saying to me, start writing things down, because I had to write so many, you know, they give you everything backwards sometimes, right? Because they don't want another energy to see what the person's doing. I remember start writing things down. I'm like, this does not make any sense. And then, you know, your Spirit say, it's going to make sense. Just tell the person this. It doesn't make sense to you because it's not your journey. And you tell the individual, and they're like, oh, yeah, I know what that means. You? And I'm like, and I hear, it's not your journey, you know? So I get it. You have to dismantle so many things.
Yeah.
So do you do intuitive coaching, or are you a certified coach?
Intuitive. Yeah.
Okay.
Intuitive. Yeah.
And I love the intuitive coaching, because everyone calls me a coach. I'm like, I'm not a coach. First and foremost, I don't have no designation, but if you want to talk from a spiritual place, I could give you practical tools and techniques to get you there. So it sounds like you do almost the same type of work, but so different at the same time, right? Because we all have our own techniques and gifts. So what really lights you up on a daily basis?
A lot of simple pleasures, actually. Like, I've been really enjoying, because I'm living in Brisbane at the moment, I've been really enjoying the river, like being near water, and being in nature, connecting with healthy food, laughing. Yeah. Reading, writing, singing, so many things.
Do you sing well, or are you just a shower singer?
Oh, this is another, this is one of my things that I'm working on unblocking. Yeah, because I've sung on and off since I was a kid, and it's something that I feel deep joy and deep vulnerability with. So it's even kind of funny that we're talking about it right now.
Well, perfect. There's a reason why we start talking about it, I guess, right?
I know. Yeah, and actually, this year I decided to take on, each month I'm taking on a monthly experiment. So instead of these are my goals, I've still got goals and intentions, but to bring more playfulness and an experimentation feeling to life, I've decided each month I'm going to experiment with something and just try it on and not be attached to that being my thing forever, but as a way of like cultivating new ways of being or trying on different things that I've always thought, oh yeah, I should do that, or that'd be cool. So I'm feeling like February is going to be sing every day.
But you know what I'm laughing at? Because I'm laughing, and not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you, because the other day I was at my girlfriend's house and I was just laying on the couch and I don't know what song we were listening to, but I just start belting out, like I was singing, I just start belting out the words. And someone turns around and goes, who just did that? And my girlfriend goes, Zach. And I'm like, they're like, Zach, you could sing? I was like, hell no, are you kidding me? Like I just was like, I'm so into this. And she goes, no, you should really start taking singing lessons.
Wow.
And I'm like, really? And I've always said as a kid, like if I was able to sing, I'd probably be famous because I just love singing. I can't even remember words to a song. That's the funny part. Like I know, like I remember songs from the 80s, but now like I look at my niece and she's just like, it's like, how do you remember all this? It's funny that we're having this singing conversation like right now, because I heard you need to go and maybe just chant or something, like something like your voice needs to come out. And I'm just like, it's funny that Spirit brought us on the singing journey together.
Yes, amazing.
And you know, when you're singing, it's like you have that full expression of self, that self-empowerment. It's coming right from your vocals, that creativity, that power, that standing in your authenticness, all that fun stuff that's coming forth. Do you draw? Do you paint or something as well?
I don't paint at the moment. I do like oil pastel, like doodling, I guess.
Oh.
You know, like just shapes and stuff. Yeah, I do that sometimes because I love the boldness of those colors from the pastels.
Interesting. Because I see you painting. That's why I asked. It feels like your inner child wants to come out to play. So how do you take out your inner child to come out to play?
Oh, well, maybe I should go get a paint set.
There you go. It's like I just see this child wanting to come out to play. So I know you said you do a whole bunch of stuff, but how is it that you harness that self-love within that inner child?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it changes from moment to moment. I've been feeling like this month has been very insular for me and very slow and very chilled. The
inner child is chilling out, eh?
So, what's that?
The inner child's just chilling out.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to journal with it or sit with it a bit.
That's so awesome. What does spirituality mean to you? This is so interesting, all these questions coming out of me.
What does spirituality mean to me? Oh my gosh. Okay. It's the essence of all that is. So for me, I don't see like spirituality as a separateness. For me personally, like my spirituality is my life, and it influences the way I do other things. So I can't unknow or unsee the multi-dimensional nature of what is. And so, yeah, I guess spirituality is cosmic creativity.
Cosmic creativity. Funny we're talking about singing and painting too.
Yeah, because that's what it is, right? Like creation is experiencing itself, and we are forms of creation, experiencing and expanding and interacting, and yeah.
Crazy. Are you a forest type of a walking girl? I see so many trees around you.
Yeah, I love walking in the bush. Love trees.
It's so I think I've done so many podcasts lately, and it's like my third eye opens up and I'm like, what are we talking about? It's like, well, look at everything that's surrounding this individual. Look at all the things that you could talk about. And it's like, yeah, because that's why like the painting, the singing, the trees. And it's just like, what is the essence of this individual? And that's why I think they asked you the question, what does spirituality mean to you, right? And it's so amazing because when I guess I just let go of everything and just say spirit's leading this conversation. I don't like to call it an interview, but this conversation. And it opens up so many different doors for me to see the individual with different eyes and not my so-called human eyes. And it just allows me to feel the heart more than anything. And it's like, there's this radiant energy about you. And this is obviously spirit talking right now. And it's like, oh, it's so fun that they're going to say this, but it's so interesting because I see this young soul coming out of you. Like you're so young. And it's like, you're so vibrant, but you're so wise. Like there's this wise individual just growing. And I'm just like, when I look at you, I'm just like, oh my God, I just want to laugh with you. I just want to laugh. Like, but we can't have a podcast of just laughing. I know that I could just sit here and just crack up jokes without even just saying anything when you just laugh. I don't know. You have this like energy about you of just, I want to laugh.
I love that. Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Do you laugh a lot?
Yeah, I love laughing. I'm a really loud laugher. Like my friend and I went to a laughter yoga thing and they were going, ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And like, I was gone and they were still like trying to laugh.
And you're like ripping.
Yeah, I was like losing it on the floor.
I could see that in you though. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, spirit, like give me the question, give me something to go on. They're like, off. And I'm like, I can't just laugh with her. Like we need content. Like just laugh. And you know what the funny thing is? It's like spirit's always telling me to tell people to laugh because everyone takes life so serious. And here I am. I want to give like a podcast of seriousness, and it's just like, no, just laugh. And I'm like,
yeah. That's so funny. That's so perfect too, because I've found that I've taken a lot of my spiritual stuff like really seriously, and it is serious, like, you know, but also there's times where I'm like, oh, okay, like this is really like church kind of serious, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, we've got to do things, we've got to balance it all out, don't we?
Yeah,
and it's joy, you know, like laughter is joy. And also energetically, laughter is very powerful. And I don't know if you've ever noticed when you go and see some big spiritual teachers or masters, or if you watch recordings of what they're doing, they crack jokes in the middle of profound teachings, and that helps to integrate the energy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. Like I could be in a serious session with one of my clients and I'm just like, bang, bang, bang. It's like, you know, you're giving them the whip and all of a sudden you just crack up a joke and they're like, where'd that come from? Like, I have no idea. That was the best moment for that to show up. Like, that just took me off on a whole different level. And they're just looking at me like, is this chick for real right now? Like, and I'm like, I did not laugh at this. Like, are you?
Do they usually laugh with you? Like,
no, sometimes they look at me like I have 5 heads, but then sometimes like some of my clients would kill themselves laughing, but my newer clients are like, is this chick for real right now? Like, is she killing herself laughing? And I just think it's funny because I hear spirit saying, the world is so stiff. The world is so serious. The world needs to like literally recognize that their spine could bend, like loosen up a little bit. Right? And that's so interesting because maybe one of us needs to laugh. Maybe we need to laugh a little more, not be so serious, right?
Yeah.
And that's maybe the message that we have to bring out there because you have so many amazing modalities. I could feel your energy. It's incredible. It's like, I tell you, I want to laugh. I just want to kill myself laughing right now. I don't even know why I want to kill myself laughing. But there's just so much to you that, again, this is spirit speaking. This is the Spirit's podcast anyways. And they're saying, but you haven't even tapped into half of it because there's still so much more in there. And that's why they want us to laugh through things because when we get into that place of laughter, it's like we get into this place of internal freedom. Wow. It's like nothing could bother you. It's like, it's like dancing, you know, you get the best meditation, you get the best messages when you're dancing. Why? Because you're letting yourself be free.
Yes. Yes, that is so perfect, actually. You're right on the money.
Well, yeah, but it's not really
Lord
me.
Spirit, thank you. Yeah.
I'm the vessel that just speaks the truth. That's all.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Because it's true. Like, I love, freedom is so core to me. Like, I want to be free in all these areas of my life. But of course, it's like coming back to that cultivating joy. And actually, a few weeks ago, I did this exercise with my friend, and he was like, you've got to pick, like, it was a Brené Brown thing, like, pick 2 values, and they're the values you live by. And then they're the values you have to make choices in accordance with. And of course I was like, don't fence me in. I don't want to pick a, word. But I tried it. I was like, it's okay. Everything's an experiment and a game, and it's okay. I'm going to try this on. So the ones I tried on that resonated for me were joy and alignment. And so, and then I was reading an Alice Bailey book, and the next page was all about joy and how joy is ultimate alignment. So I was like, yes.
And here we are having this conversation of laughter, which is joy and probably alignment. Well, girl, I think you just got your messages like loud and
so great. So great. Yeah. And the lightness. And I think, like, I'm so over pushing things uphill, or, realizing where I've been in excessive amounts of masculine energy of like do, and that's okay, because what I knew, or what I saw around me as the way of getting things done, or the way of making a difference, or the way of contributing. And so now I'm really more conscious of scaling that back and putting that into balance, and cultivating my beingness and holding things lightly.
And stepping more into your sacred feminine and balance.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that you say this, because I do have a podcast called Awaken Men Mondays, and we talk about the wounded masculine, toxic masculine, but we talk about the awakened masculine and how we could support one another in the awakening process. And I said, I had to go through a lot of healing of my masculine side, because I've been hurt, I've been tormented, I've been stepped on, I've been kicked upon, I've been everything. And I still have this sense of love for the masculine, right? But I didn't want to bring old wounds into a new relationship, because I think a lot of women do this. And just like you, in my career, I had to be in survival mode. So I never had that nurturing feminine energy, right? It was always that plow through things, work hard, and, get it going. And I used to call my girlfriend the divine feminine. I said, you're my feminine side. So if I need some nurturing, I just call you. Right. And then the last couple of years, it was like, no, you need to harness your femme now. Like, your masculine is going through the healing process, and, harness that feminine and show the love that you have. So do like belly dancing, or go to massages, or do certain things that bring that power out in your feminine. And it's so interesting now that I feel like I'm in balance with both now. I do sometimes pull out my masculine more than my feminine, but my feminine mostly stands out now, because it's the nurturing part. It's my 2019 self, right? And I laugh at things, and I see things so differently now. And it's just so funny, because the conversations that you could have when you heal your masculine side with another beautiful masculine male that has healed his feminine side, the conversations are so explosive.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that message is basically clear for all of us, is to heal, the yin and the yang, and really harness both, regardless of if you're a masculine or a feminine being, right? When you harness those two energies and bring them into alignment with one another, I think the world, I know the world could become more explosive, become so awakened.
Totally. Absolutely. And there's so many, there's so many distractions and so many conversations that could pull us off center with that, of this, like, these conversations, toxic masculinity and all that sort of stuff. And you're like, yeah, there's a place for that, but those conversations need to be had with a certain detachment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's really important. Like, I'm not saying don't honor, you know, what people are experiencing and you know, I've had many, you know, I've had sexual traumas. I've had terrible things happen to me by people that have male bodies, but that's not, I'm not going to paint all, you know, that species, you know, like it's just been part of my journey. But that it's something that I sometimes notice. I don't know if it's where we're at with the world. I did hear something like the more light that's coming to the planet, the more distracted people are becoming, or the more heightened those distractions and addictions. And, you know, addiction, the opposite of addiction is connection. Like people, it's just a way of coping. Or where am I going with this? There's something I wanted to, that was coming to me. Oh, just polarizing things, you know. And I think that's what bringing the masculine, feminine, the yin and the yang into balance is taking away that extreme polarization. Because when things are extremely polarized, there's not always an opportunity to reconcile them or to honor them or to bring them back to wholeness in our conversations or in our interactions or in our ways of being.
Absolutely. And this is what is just coming through. It's not only toxic masculine, but there is toxic feminine as well. And I just don't want to point out to the masculine like if they're bad.
Totally. No way.
As well too, right? And
oh my gosh, big time.
And yeah, that light, the brighter that light gets, and because I had to go through it. I went through it a lot in the last 6 months, clearing a lot more out of me with all this planetary shifting that we had going on with retrogrades. And I remember half the stuff because I was just in a different planet half the time. But it allowed me to see things from such a different level. And yeah, the higher the light that's going to come to us, it's going to trigger so many things for us to run away from things. Like, you know, I love my red wine, and I don't feel like I can enjoy a glass of red wine anymore. I don't even know why. I'm like, but I love drinking wine. Like, it's Jesus juice. I named it Jesus juice for a reason, you know? Like, and Jesus could come in a bottle and it tastes great, you know? But I have 2 bottles here that I've been dying to like enjoy, and I hear, no, not now. And I'm like, really? Like, but it's Friday night, you know? And it's like, no, because it feels like the energy's coming in is so powerful. It's like totally like, it's almost like, what's that thing called? It's like a cannonball. I'm doing the motion of it, right? It's like a cannonball. It's like our energy's ready right now. Like it wants our body to be in that, not pure, but in a cleaner state, to cannonball us into that next frequency that we're meant to live in. And that's just like the most incredible thing. But yeah, we have to go through the old scars. We have to go through the healing. Everything's coming to the surface. It's going to drive you crazy. You're going to want to kill yourself, and not literally, I mean, by like emotionally, like you're tired of everything coming up. You know, all these emotions are going to come up because they no longer want to be part of us. That's right. Yeah. And they're parts of us that need to die, you know, or need to be farewelled. It's almost like, I remember one of my pranic healing teachers said, and he explains this with the full moon, but I suppose it's akin to what's happening energetically with the frequencies on this planet, is that it's just like, it's fertilizer. Like it's an amplifying force. And so it's going to amplify whatever's there. You got weeds, going to make your weeds grow. You got flowers, going to make your flowers grow. Like we're just a garden. Yeah, it's so true. I was speaking to one of my mentors today, and I said to her, you know, all the shit I went through the last 6 months? She goes, yeah. I go, I turned it into fertilizer and I feel much better now. And she just there you go. I'm like, seriously, man, I'm surprised I didn't fall back in depression with everything I was going through. And I said I had too many tools in my back pocket to not fall down that path. And I wouldn't. I'm too grateful for life to go down that path. But it could bring you down that path because it's so powerful. And, you know, if you don't work with someone like yourself or myself or other women that I've, you know, had conversations with, it becomes harder in that process. Yeah. Totally. I don't know how some people do it. Like sometimes I'm
walking down the street and I go, man, I'm struggling and like to be a human, and I've got all these amazing tools and networks and knowledge of reality. I mean, not saying I know everything, I absolutely know nothing, but you know, like I know that we're more than this 3D world, and I know all that sort of stuff. And then I'm seeing all these people going about their day and I'm like, how are they doing? Like, maybe they're fine, I don't know, but
well, no, it's just a robotic thing. Really, at the end of the day, people are just robotic. They wake up, they have that same routine over and over. They take the same route to work. They take the same train. You know, it just becomes a robotic experience on a daily basis. It doesn't allow for any magic to come in. Think of it. You get up on the same side of the bed, you brush your teeth probably the same time, you make your coffee, you make your breakfast, you yell at your kids if you have any, you jump in your car, go to the train, you take the same route every day to work, you jump on that 7:48 train to go to work all the time, probably see the same people over and over and over again. So really, at the end of the day, I always tell people, leave space for magic. Like, you have no allowance for magic to come into your life. Like, you want miracles to happen, but you're a robot. So loosen up a little bit. That's why that laughter is coming through to us right now, right? Loosen up a little bit. Get up, jump over your mate if you have to get on the other side of the bed.
Yeah, totally. Like, even just one small thing. If you can just do one new different thing, like walk a different way, maintain eye contact longer, acknowledge, like send an email to someone saying that you appreciated them, even though that you find that hard, or just like one thing to cultivate that newness.
Yeah,
and
I did that.
Like you're saying, making space for magic. Absolutely, I love that.
Yeah, and it's important. It's important that you have that sense of gratitude. Today, I send my mentor, an old mentor of mine, I just sent her I just said thank you. That's all I said to her was thank you. Like, because she came into my meditation 2 days ago and gave me the most amazing lecture, and I said to her, she goes, "You're welcome." And she was wondering why I said thank you. I said, I came in my meditation the other day and you gave me this great lecture. I said, I wish you told me to get the fuck off my bed so that I could write everything you told me, because it was gold. I said to her, it was gold. And she just started laughing. She's like, oh my God. She's from Australia too. She's from Brisbane.
Oh, wow. Oh, I live in Brisbane. Oh my God.
So funny. So it was interesting, right? So it's just that sense of gratitude on a daily basis plays a huge role in how your day is going to turn out for you. So do you do a gratitude practice now that we're talking about gratitude?
Yeah, I definitely before I eat and drink things, I do gratitude practice and blessing practice. And while I'm going to bed. Yeah. How about you?
I do. I wake up in the morning and I think of 5 to 10 people that I'm just grateful for. And not only that, grateful for just life. The first thing I do as soon as I wake up in the morning, and my eyes open up, I'm like, oh, I got another day of life. Thank you. It's not promised.
No.
It's not. My friend, a close friend of mine passed away in her sleep. She didn't know she was going to pass away in her sleep, right? So it's just not promised. And so every day I wake up and I just say, thank you for giving me another opportunity to do it all over again. And I think that's really important. You don't have to sit there and write 105 things every day, but just 3 to 5 things every day. I think that it just sets the tone for the day in general. And even when I have a shitty moment, when we're talking about the energy being thick and all this emotional crap comes up, I just sit there and think about gratitude and what I'm grateful for, and I'll read stuff or do something, because it just, the energy just shifts to something greater than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm asking, this is so interesting that we're having these conversations because it's just interesting, but do you have a daily morning routine or a ritual that you do?
Yeah. So I journal. And then I meditate. But actually, it's funny you're quizzing. I feel like I'm being quizzed by God, and I'm like, sorry, God, sometimes I don't do that, and then sometimes I do other things.
I told you, this is the universe's this is God podcast, girl. So,
he's like, I know what you do anyway, or she.
You're gonna make me choke. He's calling you out on all, and I'm wondering why these questions are coming out of me. I'm just like, why are we going to ask her that? And it's like, just ask her that question. I'm like, okay. So awesome. No, but yeah, that's awesome. Do you journal? You journal before meditation or after meditation?
Before.
Before. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. See, I can't do that because I feel like I'm in that state of meditation after journaling. That's so funny. That's
It's
awesome.
sort of like a dumping, like.
I'm gonna try it that way. I usually do my meditation and then I get into like that writing aspect. But I'm gonna try it the other way because I do wake up with a lot of thoughts in my head. So I'm gonna try writing first and see from that point
And
on.
sometimes it can be like what you dreamt about or what's still on your mind from the other day, or just
So I noticed here that, we didn't talk about the stuff that you're doing, but what are some projects that you're doing for giving back? Because I know it just looks like you're doing so many things here, providing creative arts and well-being programs for asylum seekers and refugee children. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I that's actually a project from the past, so I don't do that at the moment, but I started that in Melbourne 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Can't remember exactly. Yeah, so I started that. I was getting like this strong impulse. I was really moved by, I don't know if you know much about it, but in Australia, we had mandatory detention for asylum seekers and refugees, and we had a lot of children living in jail in our country. And they would go to school during the day and then they would come back to the detention centre. And I was just getting really strong, like, you have to do something, and like I couldn't sleep, and I was just getting, So I was doing this program where everyone had to develop a project, and it came to me that mine was called Happy from the Inside, and it was for children living in these centres. And I got some contacts with different people who had permission to sign people out for field trips, and started going and visiting people in one of the detention centres in Melbourne. And there's this little girl who was telling me, oh, do you know about paper cranes? And I was like, oh, yeah, I know paper cranes. She's like, do you know when we were on Christmas Island, that's another detention centre that Australia has, there's these girls, my friends and I, we made paper cranes, and we folded them because, if you fold 1,000, your dreams come true. So we folded them to intend that we never lived behind a fence. And then it came true because my friend got sent to Adelaide and I got sent to Melbourne. And like,
wow.
And I was there with a friend of mine, and he looked at me because he could see I was about to cry, and he's like, what happened? Are you okay? And I'm like, we'll talk about it in the car. I can't. I'm like, oh my God, you're still living in a jail. It's just a nicer one. And I was just, it just wasn't okay with me. I'm like, this is not cool.
Wow.
Not cool.
Have the kids been released since then?
Yeah, that little girl, I saw her. We actually ran an event maybe 6 months later, and she was there and her family had been released. And then the government said, okay, no more kids in detention. Fair enough, blah, blah. But what happened was some of those families got released into the community, and others got woken up at night and taken onto planes and sent to our offshore detention centres that are still run by Australia. So that they could say there's no kids in detention in Australia. They're just offshore, but they're in our facilities.
So sad. It's just...
it's like, no, this is, yes. And it just doesn't need to be that way in any respect. Like, if you just want to be really cold about the facts, like, economically it doesn't make sense. It costs a lot of money to keep people in those facilities. Like, just put them in the community, like, yeah. Yeah. So there's still and then there were kids on Nauru. I think most of them are not the detention centers. Actually, I'm not up with what's happening right now, but things are often changing. That, you know, they said, okay, you can be resettled in Cambodia or Papua New Guinea, and of course, a lot of people didn't want to do that, so they're living on Nauru. Which is
Wow.
it's very complex, but yeah.
And you know what, it's so difficult to even understand why people do that, and so complicated to my spiritual brain. My human brain doesn't even understand it either. To me, it's like, why are we doing things like that? I just my brain doesn't comprehend a lot of things of why people do certain things. It doesn't make logical sense to me, even though people don't think I make logical sense when I speak about spirits, but I can't comprehend all that suffering that you're putting a child through, because you're damaging so much more to that child of the long-term effects.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. There's, you know, kids who have already experienced extreme trauma being re-traumatized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
Sarah, it's nuts. I know. Sarah, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I had a good laugh with you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
So awesome. I really enjoyed our conversations. I don't even know what they went in so many different ways.
Actually, and you know what? I just thought of something. You know how we were talking about like women becoming, you know, after they menstruate, and tapping into menopause. There's an amazing woman called Lucy Peach. She's from Western Australia, and she's a singer, and she has a program about the most amazing show about my greatest period ever, and it's like this interactive show about periods. It's super funny, really entertaining, really informative. And she was talking about when a woman gets her period, she's practicing her power, and when she reaches menopause, she's found her power.
Well. well, menopause. I have part.
So there you go.
That's incredible. You know what the funny thing is? I found that 2018, I truly did find my power. And then menopause started.
Wow.
You say that. Yeah.
Isn't
I don't
amazing?
know if it fully started, but it's like giving me these weird indications, but I have no idea. I just kind of go, oh, you're back. Hello. 2 times this month. All right. Don't make it long. You have things to do and places to go. And I don't want to wear white if you're going to show up. So, yeah, I do have that conversation with her. She is an entity within me that comes out of me on a monthly basis.
I love it.
But thank you for being on the podcast. I seriously had a good time laughing.
Thank
I guess that's what we do more of right now, is just laugh and loosen up and just be free.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for having me. I had a ball. It was great.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy. So everyone, thank you for listening to Wise Women Wednesdays. To get a hold of Sarah, all of her socials are going to be in the show notes just below. Check her out. She is a beautiful ball of light, full of energy. I'm telling you, you could kill yourself laughing just hanging out with her. So get a hold of Sarah if you feel aligned to work with her, to talk with her, to befriend her on socials, and just follow her, whatever it is. Everything is below. Thank you for listening to Wise Women Wednesdays. We look forward to having you back again next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Unfuck Your Mind. Head over to iTunes and leave your 5-star review and comment to get uprising the charts so we can get this incredible wisdom into more ears worldwide. In the show notes, you'll find all affiliate links to what we've mentioned in the podcast or products Zach loves to use. Until we connect again, unfuck 1% of your thoughts and watch how your life shifts.